This video will demonstrate how to use the Google Images tools and how to stretch those images and crop those images on Google Slides. So I have a slide here that's going to be talking about cell phones in the 90s. So the first thing you might do is, quite often you'd find where somebody just, they have this idea, okay, I want to put a picture in with my text. So they do a quick Google image search and they just throw that image onto the slide. Well, I want to show some techniques and why that looks so bad and how to fix that as well. So what we can do is we're first just going to do a Google image search, and we're just going to place that image right here in the center of our slide. So I'm going to go over here to Google Images and just type in 90s cell phone. All right, and right here, so this Nokia phone, this is a very popular one in the 90s. If I click on that, well, actually, I'm going to show a couple different things here. First of all, a lot of times your students, they may right-click on this and choose Copy Image. The problem what they're doing there is they're copying the thumbnail image here, and when they go back to their slide and right-click and paste, what ends up happening is they have copied that small thumbnail. And when they go to stretch this or make it larger, you'll see what happens is that you can kind of see how digitized it is. So they're not getting a very clear image. So if I click and delete that, we'll go back to that search. And when I click on it once, you'll see that it gives me a much sharper image. So this is the one they'd want to copy because this is going to be the larger image, in this case 320 by 393. And I always tell students that their images should be at least 250 by 250, if not larger. So the larger it is, typically the sharper it's going to be. All right, so now that I've copied the larger image and I paste that here, you'll see it's more clear. It's still not perfect. But if we look at this from a presentation standpoint, it looks really kind of cheap. It looks like I just went out and grabbed an image and threw it onto the slide, which is exactly what I did. So what we're going to do here is improve that as well. Let's delete that. And let's also delete that little placeholder there in the center. And let's go back to Google Slides and Google Images, and we'll take a look at some different techniques. So I said 90s cell phone, and if I change tools here, when I click on tools, it gives me this set of hidden tools that a lot of people never even knew existed. And you'll find down here, if I choose color, one thing, if I want cell phones that are going to look good on a blue slide, I can click blue, and it gives me a lot of different blue images. If I wanted ones that reflected red, it's going to give me phones with red. So you can choose different color patterns that might make it look better on your slide. The one I like to use here most often, though, is transparent. If I click on transparent, what that's going to do is it's going to give me images that if I click here, you'll see that they're already laid out with the checkerboard here, which indicates that the background is transparent. So you're not going to have that big white box when you copy this. So let's use this one for an example. I'll just right click on this, copy image, and then I'm going to go back to my Google Slides. And the first thing I'm going to do here is I want you to kind of see some text that I already have laid out here. Excuse me. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right click on my background and say order send to back. And I already have some text tools here that are kind of laying out what we've done. The first thing that we've done is we've used our Google image tools. We selected colors, and then we found a transparent image. So if I right click here and choose paste, it's going to paste that image that we just found that had a transparent background. So right there, you can see it does not have the big white box, but it has our cell phones lined up there with a transparent background. So now what we're going to do is we're going to apply some of the skills we've learned in some of the other videos with a technique here. We're first going to crop some of this image. So again, the quick way to crop is just to double click When I double click the image, I have my crop tools appear. And now we're just going to drag this up, and I want you to bring it up so that it just covers the bottom curve on the flip phone. So after it just covers that, and we can still see Verizon in the image, next thing we're going to do is go to the side here, and I want you to drag this so that's right on the center of this flip phone antenna. So I'll put it right there on the center. So you've got something like that now. Now if I just click off to the side, that'll get rid of our crop tools. And now I just have my regular stretch tools. So I'm going to click here in the center and drag it down to the lower right corner of my slide. And you can see that when it gets to the side there, it's going to snap with a red line. And I'll get the snap red line at the bottom as well, right there. Now I know it's perfectly in the center of that, the bottom right part of that screen. Now what I can do is just kind of resize this, and I would make this so that overlaps the S and 90s a little bit. I think that gives it a nice 3D look. And the other thing you can do is you'll notice that your corners should kind of line up here. So the corner is lining up with tools, colors, transparent, stretch, and crop. All right, those are all the things that we learned on this slide. And you can see how much more professional this slide looks than just when we had the white cropped image. All right, this video demonstrated how to use the Google Images tools, and we stretched and cropped our image to create a more professional looking slide.